Hi, I'm Annie. This is Books with Annie, and today we're going to be doing a new segment that I'm hoping to bring to my channel this year, and that is ins and outs of every month. So what books did I bring in? What books did I let go of? This is going to be for the month of January of 2026, which means that we're getting rid of all of the books that I decided I didn't want to keep from 2025 as well as January, because I didn't get rid of them at the end of 2025, so we're getting rid of them now. So yeah, it's gonna be a very short haul and a very long unhaul. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start with the books that I hauled in January of 2026, and those are Kiss and Don't Tell by Megan Quinn. This is a hockey romance. What tropes it has, but I'm very excited for this, and I've loved everything I've read by Megan Quinn, so I'm really excited for that. And then we have Most Eligible by Isabel Engel. I don't know really anything about this other than I think it's about a woman who is a journalist and she infiltrates a dating show only to find out that someone on the production team or something is an ex or someone she's been interested in. I don't know. So it kind of derails her plans, and I think that's fascinating. And then last book I hauled in January was Daddy Issues by Kate Goldbeck, and I'm actually already started this book. I'm 90 pages in, on chapter 12, and I'm liking it so far. It's not as good as You Again, but it's good so far. Like I said, very short haul. So let's get into the unhaul for 2025 and just January in general. So, The Beautiful and the Damned by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I reread, I think it's in the stack too, but I reread The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and I just realized I don't care to read anything else by him, and I've had this for years, never picked it up, so I think it's time to get rid of it. And then Last Girl Standing by Trina Robbins. I think I bought this at Powell's a long time ago, and I just never cared to get to it. I think it would be cool, but again, there are so many other books that I know more about and that I'm really interested in that I just haven't gravitated towards this, so I think it's time to let it go. Okay, so this is the Complete Sherlock Holmes Volume 1 and 2 by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I bought these because my grandmother really loved Sherlock Holmes. I think that if I did read these, it would be through audiobooks. I don't need two giant books sitting on my shelves that I'm never going to physically read, so they can go. Then I have Blankets by Craig Thompson. I made a fair go at this graphic novel. I think I read to about here maybe. I was close to halfway through the book, and I didn't care. And I think a big part of this story is that you're supposed to care, with most stories I would guess, and I just couldn't get there. And it felt like there were supposed to be trigger warnings that just weren't there, and maybe I read too much into it, but I didn't get into it, and that's, yeah. I think I read this in a vlog last year, so more of my thoughts are probably in that, maybe. Honestly, I can't remember, because I kind of, as soon as I stopped reading this, I forgot. But, yep. Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy, my least favorite Elle Kennedy that I've actually finished. I love The Girl. I'm literally sitting right next to her shelf. It's a shelf completely and totally dedicated to Elle Kennedy. I would have loved to have liked this book, but I couldn't get it. This is, again, Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. It's a love triangle book, and like, no, I don't love triangles, but If they're done well, I can get behind them. But it was just so obvious who the right person was for her to choose, and I just couldn't care. But I finished it. It was like a hate read, and I gave it 1 star. So I don't know. And I think this is being turned into like a movie or a TV show, and I'll watch that, but I wouldn't recommend the book. Love you, Elle Kennedy. And then I have King of Wrath by Anna Huang. This is just a second copy. I bought it, forgot that I bought it, went to a small bookshop in San Diego. I don't need 2 copies of this, even though I loved this book. I just don't need 2 copies. And then I was looking at my shelves and I was like, I didn't really care for this book, and that is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I just don't think that cozy fantasy is my thing. I just could not get into it. I couldn't care about the characters or the situation or the coziness of it. It just felt like wrong almost for it to be like a cozy fantasy. I don't know. Maybe it's just this cozy fantasy because it was so hyped. I think I gave it 3 stars. Like, it wasn't a bad book by any means. It's just not something that I'm necessarily interested in or want to continue reading, if that makes sense. Okay, so I have a lot of my self-destruct books from last year's TBR. I'll go ahead and put the graphic from last year up on the screen so that you can see what I'm working with. There were quite a few that I did not get to that I am now forced to unhaul. Some of them I might not end up unhauling. I know, breaking the rules, I'm so sorry. First one being The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. I can't get rid of it. I want to read it so bad, and like, it was just never the right time last year. So I might give myself like a time limit on this. I just need to think about what that might be. But I'm keeping this one, so never mind. Another book that was on my self-destructing TBR was When You Were Everything by Ashley Woodfolk. I DNF'd this book. I got probably like 20 to 30% of the way through this book and DNF'd it because I just couldn't believe the best friend relationship between the 2 girls. And I understand that it's set in high school and those friendships are a little bit different, but you cannot convince me that these 2 girls were actually best friends. I think they were friends at best, and maybe if I kept reading I would have seen more of the connection between the 2 of them, but they just like, they dropped each other so quick. Layla just like became friends with somebody else and was like, oh, screw Cleo. And that's just not how best friends act, in my opinion. So again, I just couldn't get behind it, and I really, really wanted to love this book. I just didn't. And then we have Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I put off reading this book for so long, and yeah, I hated it. I DNF'd this so quickly. I mean, I say so quickly. I think I was probably a third of the way through the book. Again, that's a theme apparently. I read a third of the book and I'm like, I hate this. She got over her trauma way too quickly. I know that everybody deals and processes with things at their own speed. Grief is its own beast, and I understand all of those things, but it was just not believable. I could not be convinced that she went through such a traumatic event and then met this boy and suddenly everything was fixed. I can't believe that. The writing was immature and the characters seemed way more juvenile than they're actually meant to be. And yeah, I just didn't care. And I tried really hard because I really wanted to love it. And yeah, I just couldn't get behind it. Empty Bottles Full of Stories by Robert M. Drake and R.H. Shin. I read this like a long time ago and it just wasn't a favorite poetry collection. I really only keep the ones that stick with me and that mean something to me, and this one just didn't fit the bill. I think that if you're looking for poetry to not that I think anyone needs to do this or should do this, but boost your Goodreads reading goal count. It's a fine poetry book, but I would just get it from the library. The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This book was good. I gave it, I think, a 3-star. I just felt like it just kept going, and it was a little bit more flowery of writing than I'm used to and maybe that I like. And I would definitely read other things by this author. Like I really want to read Night Circus, but I think instead of buying it, I would get it from the library or on Kindle or something, because I don't think that this author is necessarily for me, or that flowery writing, when it's this to this extent, is for me. So again, I think it was a fun fantasy story, and I think that it did some very unique things, but it's just for the sake of my own reading experience, it's not for me. Okay, I feel like I'm going to hurt a lot of people's feelings when I say this. I started this book, could not get into it because the main character drove me insane. I think that cheating in media is so accepted, and I can't get behind it. And like, I don't know if she ever actually does cheat on her fiance, but she definitely emotionally cheats on him, and I just like couldn't get over that. And there were other things. It's been so long since I've actually tried to read this book, but there were other things where I was just like, really? I don't care. I don't want to know what happens. It just didn't grip me. And so I DNF'd this one really, really early because of that. So yeah, for that reason, I'm unhauling it. This is another one that I am keeping. It was on my self-destruct list for last year, Dear Haiti Leveling by Maritza and Mega Mulit. I really, really wanted to get to this, but it just was never the right time again. And yeah, I will be reading this year, or I will unhaul it, but I can't get rid of it without trying it. I really hope I love this book. I think I will. I hope I will, but we'll see. Okay, and I'm so sorry, but same thing with this one, Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I really want to see if I like this. It's been so long since I've read anything by John Green. Part of me is kind of like, I can get rid of this and then get it from the library. You know what, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. So we are getting rid of that one. Again, it was just on my self-destruct list and I never got to it, so that's why we're doing it. I need to rapid fire these. So Permanent Record by Mary H.K. Choi, same thing, self-destruct, didn't get to it. Call Me By Your Name by Andre Osman. I DNF'd this because of a scene involving a peach. Monsters Volume 1, just never got into it. The art style is gorgeous, but the story just did not keep me interested. Opposite of Always by Jason A. Reynolds. This was on my self-destruct. I read part of it, didn't care, DNF'd it. The Great Gatsby. I reread it since high school, for the first time since high school, didn't like it, so yeah. Before the Coffee Gets Cold, I liked this when I read it. I just don't need a physical copy of it. If I continue with the series, I'm just gonna get it from the library or audiobook. And then last but not least, Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice by Katie I don't know how to say her last name. I'll put it on the screen. This is I want to say like middle grade YA romance about coffee shops. I just didn't care. I know too much about coffee to have liked this, and it just felt very, very, very juvenile. But that's all I have for you. If you've read any of these books and you think I need to give them a second try, let me know down in the comments. And if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me. I'd love to have you here. Bye.